So I somehow slept wrong last night and completely, utterly wrecked the side of my neck. So if I barely move in this video, that's because I'm in my 30s. I looked too far to the right and just now I'm useless for the next week. Hello everyone, my name is Holly and welcome back to your monthly dose of brand new book releases. I can't believe I'm filming September book releases already. Can this year go any faster? Like, put on the damn brakes because I feel like I just filmed August book releases. But hey, here we are. School has started. Well, not for me. I haven't been in school in like 14 years because I'm old, but summer ends and fall begins this coming month, and I have over 20 books coming out that you should know about on my list today, so subscribe if you are not. I do these every single month, and be sure to leave a comment down below telling me a book that I might have missed. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. So starting on September 3rd, we have a spooky read, which is very fitting, Haunt Sweet Home. This is a standalone horror novella that centers on the something scary happening on a movie set trope. Our main character gets an opportunity to work as an assistant on this popular haunted house renovation TV show. Already sounds really cool because those shows are very addicting, but things start to become increasingly frightening beyond her own doing. She's supposed to be the one making things go bump in the night, but something actually sinister is going on in the background. Again, it's a novella, so hovering at around 100 pages or so. I assume it's going to be a fast, spooky read because of that, and it's always a great way to start your spooky season reading, in my opinion. Immortal Dark. So for all vampire lovers out there, this one is for you. It's a YA fantasy, book one in a trilogy following diverse vampires in a dark academia setting. It takes the idea of secret societies and morally gray characters and adds constant surprises. A lot of reviews actually mentioned that it kind of reads like a dark adult fantasy, my fave, but it has like a YA main character, so whatever you fancy. I'm sure this will work for many readers out there, and the perfect time to get into something like this for sure. The Gods Below. So I'm currently reading this one, so I can actually give you like a mini review here. This is one of my most anticipated books of the year. I adore Andrea Stewart, and she has created such an awesome new fantasy world here that is so full of history. We have a world here that was shattered by a war between gods long ago, and one of those gods offers humanity a deal. He will restore the world one realm at a time, but the price for that is steep. Very high. So that's all I'll say for now. I am enjoying this one so much, and it's definitely on the verge of being a possible 5-star read for me. I haven't finished it yet, but it's definitely given me those vibes. So I highly recommend picking it up when it releases in early September. This next book, you guys, I had to include it on my list, okay? The Dragon Kings of Oklahoma. Hell yeah, brother. I think this is just a Kindle release. It's a very short book, like novella size, but when I saw it on NetGalley, my life was changed. Let me just read the little blurb here for you. Let me get my Ohio accent ready. They were just two good old boys putting out a fire in the mountains. They didn't expect to find a mother dragon sitting on her brood. I don't know, man. The synopsis mentions smuggling dragons out of Germany and selling baby dragons to get rich quick, but the main character begins to like see them as pets. Like, is it wholesome? Is it problematic? I can't tell, but I want to read it. Listen, I can't pass up a dragon book. And with a cover like that, I'm sold. Next one is a little bit of a weird one. It's called Pay the Piper. So this book is really interesting because Daniel Kraus himself found this unfinished manuscript while sifting through George Romero's things, and with some approval, he finished it, and now it's seeing the light of day, and it sounds really cool. So obviously it's a horror book that takes place in the Louisiana Bayou, all about the supernatural, a murderous entity that is terrorizing the swamp. Children are even being taken, so it's up to the town to confront their past mistakes. Any horror fans out there, definitely don't want to miss out on this one. Up next, I have The Pumpkin Princess and the Forever Knight. So I don't talk about middle grade that often, but I just had to include this one for cover alone. And then I read that it's being promoted as Nevermore meets the Netflix series Wednesday. And I was like, okay, well, on the list you go. Here we follow Eve, who is an orphan running away from her orphanage, but while in the forest, she runs into the Pumpkin King, and he likes her, so he decides to bring her into his realm. This kind of sounds sounds like a cozy Halloween story that is wholesome and fun, very much getting Nevermore vibes, and it could not be more fitted for this fall season. Okay, we're moving on to September 10th. From the author who wrote Such Sharp Teeth and Black Sheep comes a new vampire novel called So Thirsty. So in this book, we follow Sloane, who is so tired of a mundane and boring life while her best friend is living a much more exciting one, and decides that they both should go on a best friend getaway together. I'm assuming things go awry in a vampire sort of way when they get invited to a party. Clearly a supernatural thriller story, but with a center focus on female friendship, which I love, and I hope that's the case. We don't see enough of that in my opinion, so I'm definitely excited for this one. And like I said, I'm really leaning toward thrillers lately, so I mean, this might be a pickup for me. Next up, let's see if I can get this title on the first go around. Warlords of Weirdwood. It's kind of a tongue twister for me. The highly anticipated sequel, for me anyways, to Gods of Weirdwood. This is part of the Forsaken trilogy by R.J. Barker, and it's a dark fantasy that prioritizes the forest environment, which is a kind of fantasy that are hard to find these days. It's unique as hell in my opinion, written in a way that takes dark folklore and mixes it with this like evil empire looming over everything. I really liked the first one, so if you're looking for a dark foresty themed fantasy, then you can read both books 1 and 2 very soon. The World Is Not Yours, a new sci-fi horror novella that involves scary aliens on a colonized planet where characters believe the planet to be safe, but oh, they're very wrong, as this mysterious liquid seems to be taking over the planet and consumes everything in its path. I really love the idea of this one, and it's one that I'm heavily leaning toward picking up myself soon. The cover is creepy enough, and with that big sounding plot in just around 100 pages, again, it's a novella, sounds very enticing to me. Somewhere Beyond the Sea. I feel like this is most people's most highly anticipated book of this year, with how much everyone, including myself, loved The House in the Cerulean Sea. Well, this is the sequel to that. We follow the same characters, Arthur and Linus, and they are the masters of this orphanage, which is the home to these magical children, and they are wanting to protect them at all costs. Well, when a new magical child arrives, who sees themselves as a monster, it kind of throws a wrench in things. This is already getting phenomenal reviews and people are loving it, so if you love The House in the Cerulean Sea, definitely don't forget to check this one out. Lucy Undying. It truly must be the year of the vampire because we have yet another vampire book, and this one is a true Dracula novel. We have 2, maybe 3 main POVs. Lucy from 100 years ago, Dracula's POV, which sounds fun. Sorry, my cat just gave me a ball. She wants to play fetch. Soba, you want it? Go get it. And then we have Iris, who is present day, telling this story to a counselor. So we pretty much have the full cast to Stoker's classic brought to life in this retelling. If you're a fan of anything in the realm of Dracula, I'd recommend giving this one a try. And apparently, even as someone who maybe has never read Stoker's Dracula, reviewers have said it's still very compelling and enjoyable, so you don't have to have read it. Next up, I have The Scarlet Throne. This is a villainess origin story, a political fantasy drawing inspiration from Southeast Asia. I saw a reviewer compare this to the Poppy War, which it's very interesting in my opinion because this cover kind of is giving me like only happy things are occurring in this story with its like bright colors. But seeing that it's following a young girl who is made the earthly representation of a goddess, but in actuality she's the host of a demon. When her time as a goddess is running out due to her age, she plots to do whatever is necessary to hold on to her power. So I guess there definitely could be some darker tones in there with that kind of plot, and I mean I hope so, but yeah, definitely a book making its rounds in the community. We are moving on to a new date, September 17th. So for this date, I want to start with one of my most anticipated books of the second half of the year, and that is Night Strider. Oh man, this book has me written all over it, and I love the cover so much. This is an epic dark fantasy coming from Orbit Books, and oh gosh, I just want to like push my entire TBR out of the way to get to it. It's another multi-POV fantasy, one of the characters being a deadly manifestation of people's nightmares, which is badass already. And after reading through the synopsis, which is a very long synopsis, it sounds like all of these characters have their own motivations and their own reason to either destroy or save the kingdom. I don't know. but I need to read it. And Academy of Liars. So I adore Alexis Henderson. I have loved her past books, so I'm personally so pumped for this one, as it's a dark academia novel. Absolutely perfect for the fall season. Trigger warning for this one though. It does sound really dark, like mentally dark, where our main character is struggling, thinking of ending her life situation until she gets a call that changes everything, which I'm assuming involves this college that deals with the art of persuasion that the synopsis mentions. Maybe the magic system is involved with that, whatever it is. I can't wait to give it a try. I have not given Alexis Henderson a rating below 4 stars yet, so she's on a good track record with me. A Dark and Drowning Tide. This is from the author who wrote A Far Wilder Magic, and I know many of you enjoyed that. I remember you guys talking about it in my Discord a while ago, so here is a new novel from her. This is a murder mystery sapphic romance fantasy about a folklorist who must pair up with her academic rival to solve their mentor's murder. I have heard it is very enemies to lovers, very grumpy sunshine trope for those of you who are looking for that. The mystery does sound compelling and kind of whimsy in a way, which I like. And I know many of you like too. Moving on to September 24th, we have A Tide of Black Steel, another heavy hitter hitting shelves next month, coming from best-selling author Anthony Ryan. A Tide of Black Steel is the first novel in a new epic fantasy trilogy inspired by Norse mythology. I love me a good Norse adult fantasy. I believe this is set in the same world as his previous series, The Covenant of Steel. Kind of makes sense with that title. And it takes place a few decades after the ending of The Traitor, to be specific, which I didn't realize, but that made me even more excited. And yes, this can be read independently. This is an epic fantasy following multi-POVs amongst a huge brutal war, very Joe Abercrombie style. I often compare Anthony Ryan and Joe Abercrombie to be very similar in storytelling, so if you are a fan of one, you have to be a fan of both. The last 2 books that I'm talking about are horror novels. So the first one is Devils Kills Devils. As someone who loved Mexican Gothic, Southern Gothic horror is one of my favorite subgenres, and this apparently runs wild with that. This is from the author who wrote The Spite House, came out last year, and they've written a new monster horror story that is chilling readers to the bone. We have our main character's husband who is killed before her eyes on the night of their wedding by her guardian angel. And from there, she is launched into a whirlwind of magic and devils, who I think are also vampires, causing her to question everything that she thought she knew. I'm definitely wanting to pick this one up myself because I need to know what all the fuss is about. And finally, the last book that I am talking about today is Graveyard Shift. This is from the same author who wrote We Were Villains, and they are releasing a new horror novella that consists of creepy short stories that center on the night. So apparently we follow a group of misfits who meet outside an abandoned church to basically find solace in each other's sleeplessness, but they stumble upon an open grave, and the mystery develops from there. This is sure to delight fans of Gothic literature. This is like a small-sized Scooby snack of mystery for those of you who enjoy stories like this. Oh, and that is it for my list today. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know down below in the comments which book that you are most excited about. I know there are definitely some other books out there that are coming out in September that I missed, like Alien Clay is another honorable mention, and also This Fatal Kiss. I'll put a picture up of that one because I just absolutely love the cover, but it is very, very romance, clearly, so I know a lot of you would enjoy that one. But yeah, that's all I have time for today. Like this video if you liked, it really helps me out. Subscribe if you are not. I'd love to have you here, and until we meet again, happy reading.